Nicole, we'll get more on the White House reaction to Mary Trump's book in a bit. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the passing of Representative John Lewis. We saw the president's tweet just moments ago. Can you tell us anything more about how that news is being received over at the White House?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the president did issue a tweet saying that he is saddened to hear the news of civil rights hero John Lewis's passing. Melania and I send our prayers to he and his family. Earlier today, the president also issued a proclamation to lower flags at half-staff here at the White House, as well as public grounds and buildings and other federal installations. We have also heard reaction from the vice president, Mike Pence, who called Congressman Lewis a giant of civil rights and said even when they differed, John was unfailingly kind. Also, the press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, among the first in the administration to respond, calling Congressman Lewis an icon of the civil rights movement, and says that he leaves an enduring legacy.
Now, the president also tweeted about his niece, a dismissal. I'm wondering if you can tell us, has the White House made any other official comments about her book?
Yeah, that's right. Well, those tweets that the president put out last night about his niece were really kind of the first reaction that we have heard and seen from the president. The White House has continued to insist that this is a book of falsehoods. However, nearly 1 million copies sold on the first day of its release earlier this week. It's also #1 on Amazon's bestseller list. Of course, the book is published by Simon & Schuster, which is a division of Viacom CBS.
I wonder, has the White House, they've dismissed the book, they did it even before it came out, but have there been any attempts to refute specific claims in the book?
Not really beyond kind of the general statement that they have put out. Obviously, Mary Trump, as we pointed out, has done a number of interviews this week. For instance, she has alleged that her uncle often used racial slurs, and she also, of course, one big point that she makes in her book that's gotten a lot of traction is she accuses the president of cheating on his SATs. And so this is something that the White House has been specifically asked about both of those claims, but again, their response continues to be that this is a book of falsehoods.
One of President Trump's advisors spoke anonymously to the Washington Post about the coronavirus response. And Nicole, he said the president is, quote, not really working this anymore. He doesn't want to be distracted by it. He's not calling and asking about data. He's not worried about cases. What more do we know about what's happening behind the scenes?
Well, we certainly know that the president is not participating in these coronavirus task force meetings daily. However, Counselor Kellyanne Conway says that he has participated in some, most recently one with the governors not too long ago, she said. And certainly the White House has pointed out that because the vice president leads the coronavirus task force, that he's kind of more than capable of taking the lead on this and keeping the president briefed and in the loop. That being said, Kellyanne Conway also told reporters yesterday or suggested the idea of possibly bringing back some of these coronavirus task force briefings that we saw more frequently over the spring months, where we saw the president and the vice president up there along with members of the task force. She did tell reporters that the president's approval rating was higher when he was at the podium.
In the Fox News interview, we saw a little bit of that in your package. Also in that interview, the president made the false claim that presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden wants to abolish the police. Christopher Wallace fact-checked him in real time in that interview. Has there been any clarification from the White House about this?
Yeah, well, this was a pretty interesting TV moment, if you will, because in the midst of that interview and that back and forth between the president and Chris Wallace, the president just looked off camera and called for an aide and, in essence, asked the aide to bring him a document so he could try to fact check this for himself. And the president was making that claim. He said, based on this document that was produced by the Biden campaign, it was the product of a joint task force between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, where, officials who worked on both of those campaigns kind of came together and put forth this platform of ideas. But even in that document, when the aide brought it over to the president, he wasn't able to find this claim about defunding the police. Although I will note, shortly after the interview clip ran, the Trump campaign came out insisting that the president was indeed correct. However, you'll recall that our own Norah O'Donnell interviewed former Vice President Biden, who did, at the time, this was just last month, say that he does not support defunding the police. However, he did note that he would support conditioning aid in certain instances.
All right, Nicole Killion at the White House, thank you for joining us.